Yeah, let the audience come to you. Don't try so hard. Like if they don't want it, don't give it to them. Go find someone else who actually wants your product.
What's up guys, Jason here, Aspiring Entrepreneur, showing you the day in the life of a budding entrepreneur, a hustle building business, the grind of creating content. And today I kicked the day off with a stop at a local coffee shop to get back in the habit of working on my business in the morning. One of the things that I kind of dropped the ball on during that kind of YouTube push last month was spending the first hour of my day just going through Asana and creating processes to outsource stuff to my team. And I think it's something that after the morning brain dump is really important to do because it forces you to offload work onto other people. And of course, other people on your team, right? You're paying them, that's what they're there for. But at the same time, it's really important to remember that as an entrepreneur, it's not your job to do everything.
It is your job to steer the ship, and of course it is your job to figure out what is really important and just focus on that. And as a digital marketer, of course, I have a bias towards saying that the majority of your time should be spent on acquiring customers. I'm going to link to the video in the description that I recently did on the value ladder of time. And I think it's a concept that I'm going to be really diving into and kind of fleshing out over these next couple of weeks to kind of really help show you guys how to really get that higher level of productivity out of your day, and the importance of just starting your day with that brain dump and then continuing on with having an hour or two where you just focus on the business versus in the business. And it's something that I haven't been sharing with you guys, which is why it might all of a sudden seem like, hey Jason, why are you doing all this productivity stuff all of a sudden? It's because I realized that I'd been a little lax on it, been focusing on other areas. And that's kind of how it goes. You go back and forth between, oh, I was focused here and now I'm focused there. But really getting that balance in terms of just communicating to you guys what I found to be really helpful. And I also have something to share with you on consulting and clients. But first, I need to jump on a client call and then I'll be right back. So you have two different audiences. We'll see how dialed in or not dialed in they are. And then you have kind of three broad categories of products that you're advertising. And after a week, we'll probably have a really good idea of which audience is worth your time and then which style is, worth really focusing on. And what I wanted to end on, that communication bit that I didn't have time to finish earlier, was client communication. Now, what a big mistake I have made this week and just in recent times is with bringing on new clients and managing current clients. I found that I've made a huge error in terms of how I bill them. And I've chosen a fixed rate. I didn't do a retainer. I didn't do a by the hour thing because I didn't really want our services tied directly to how long it took, right? You pay for a result. So what is the result worth? That's what you pay. And what I forgot to include was communication time. And so if you're thinking about being a coach or a consultant, I think it's really important to think about, okay, it's reasonable to charge $500 for X, and then say, okay, in delivering X, how many emails are we going to have to go through back and forth? How many questions are they going to have on the back end? How many questions are they going to have on the front end? How many questions am I going to have to ask them? And I grossly just ignored the fact that a lot of client work is communication. It's customer service, right? You aren't a drive-through, you're a 5-star sit-down restaurant. If your client asks you something, if your client wants something, and you haven't clearly defined that it's not in your agreement, then you're kind of on the hook for it, or you have to come up with a better, polite way to come across and say, actually, you're going to have to pay me money for me to answer your question, which really is a terrible place to be in. So I'm curious if any of you have had this issue with, your fledgling or, full-blown consulting businesses, because it's something that I'm still working on and trying to figure out is how do I price in the extra customer support in terms of the completely reasonable questions that come in and the extra support that might have to be provided on the back end in terms of here's how to use the Ferrari we just built for you, right? So just a little lesson learned if you decide to take on consulting clients, or if you currently have consulting clients and you're wondering where all your time might be going, you might be suffering from the same syndrome. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some value out of today's vlog, and of course, keep building the business you love. Take care.